Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charlene Hickson. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions Events here at Florida Atlantic University. Welcome to our Student Life presentation. I will be moderating the chat box today, so if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them over to me in the chat box. I'm going to hand it over to you, Renee.
Oh, awesome. Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well. You're staying safe. I really want to thank you for joining us today and the ability for me to highlight kind of how you can get involved on campus throughout your academic journey at FAU. So I'm with Student Activities and Involvement. I've been there about 4 years now, and I serve as the Assistant Director for Student Activities and Involvement, primarily overseeing our RSOs, our Registered Student Organizations, Graduate and Professional Student Association, and commuter programs. Within our office, though, we oversee a lot. So homecoming, weeks of welcome, university traditions, everything fun and kind of engagement-wise outside the classroom. I always say we're the fun office on campus. I'm a little bit biased, obviously, but let me get to it. So before I really start, I want to be able, to get a pulse of like kind of who we have in the room. How many of you, and I think we're gonna have a poll up in a second, how many of you will be commuting to campus or living on campus? So will you be living on campus? I think we should have a poll up. Chelsea, is everybody able to see the poll? Oh, I think we can. Polling. There we go. So on your screens, you should see a question. Will you be living on campus? Oh, maybe it's the wrong poll. We'll skip that question. So we'll move on to the next question. Once we get the poll up, I would really like to know who's kind of living on campus versus who's living off campus. The reason why I ask for some of you, okay, so some of you can't see it. I see some responses on campus. I can see the chat as it comes up, so perfect. On campus. Oh, a lot of you will be on campus. That's perfect. For those of you who won't be on campus, maybe you're living off campus, you're commuting from Plantation or West Palm, just know that it's going to be really easy for when we start talking about involvement for you to park your car in a parking garage and kind of go straight to your class and go back to your car. But there's really a lot for you to do on campus beyond just going to class. So there's different events, there's student organizations, there's leadership opportunities, ways for you to kind of build your resume and your involvement beyond just being academically involved. So for those of you who will be commuting from off campus, I really want to challenge you to really pay attention to the different leadership opportunities on campus, because it can be really easy to kind of park your car, go to class, and then leave without really discovering the rest that FAU has to offer. Thanks for everybody for responding in the chat. So student activities and involvement, I mentioned to you before, we oversee student government, student organizations, volunteer and service opportunities is something I'll highlight a little bit. Something unique to FAU with volunteer and service is we track all your hours for you and they actually appear on your transcript. So when you go to graduate, you have kind of a log of verified hours from the university that employers can look at. And then weeks of welcome, homecoming, and traditions, those are some of the larger events that come out of our office. We've had large artists, Waka Flocka, Kesha. Typically during homecoming, we burn a statue. Last year it was UCF statue. It was a giant knight that we have a professional architect come in. So I'll be talking a little bit more in depth about those programs, but as an oversight, that's what student activities and involvement kind of oversees. So student government, the student government at FAU is very similar to that of the United States government. So we have legislative, judicial, branches, along with, let me just bring it up here, executive. So when you think of the student government at FAU, think of your traditional United States government and kind of how it operates. We have a president and vice president that oversee all three campuses, so Broward, Jupiter, and Boca. And then we have governors on each campus. So those governors represent the needs of that campus community, while the president and vice president really are representing all of FAU students. So when you think of student government, you think of like the official voice of students, advocating for the student body, really being the voice of your fellow peers and what the needs are on campus. Student government has a lot of power. If you want to see something come to life on campus, if you see a need that needs to be addressed on campus, you should definitely be talking to student government to try to get that transitioned in or see how that could be fixed. But within student government, there's paid and volunteer leadership opportunities. So for some of you who are commuting to campus, this is a great way to find a job on campus where you're still developing leadership skills. These are not work study positions as well, so maybe you don't qualify for work study. This is a perfect opportunity. Within our office, we have over 75 paid positions. And then we have a lot of volunteer positions as well. As I mentioned before, those volunteer positions can be tracked. So you can actually include that into your transcript at the end when you graduate. Are there any questions on this slide? Let me check the chat really quickly. Oh, there we go. No questions before I move on to the other side? Does anybody have questions? Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the next slide. So funding, I think maybe we can try to get the poll up. How many of you are really comfortable and know what's on your tuition bill?
Renee, the poll isn't working, so let's have everyone write it in the chat.
Oh, perfect. How many of you say you're, oh, can you talk about freshman student government involvement? For sure, freshman student government involvement, there's FCC, which is Freshman Class Council, and it really acts as the ability for you to join the council and test out or be involved with various aspects of student government. So most people think Freshman Class Council might be you're advocating the needs of freshman students. That's included in there, of course, but what we really focus on is exposing you to the different branches of student government and programs we offer. And seeing kind of where your niche is, and then hopefully transitioning you into that specific area the following year. So that's a really great question. We do have a lot of freshman students who get involved with student government within the House as well. So if you're looking for maybe a smaller leadership role but still having that impact, we have over 45 House positions, and you can assist in writing legislation and talking about the needs of FAU students. So thanks so much for asking that. All right, but back to the funding question is, I want everybody to put in the chat, are you comfortable? Do you think you know what's on your tuition and fees? Oh, maybe nobody does. No, not yet. I'm gonna tell you. I appreciate the honesty. No from Lindsay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's on your tuition. Is a lot of the things that I've talked about. So I've talked about homecoming weeks of welcome, university traditions, some of our larger programs. I'll talk about some of our smaller programs within student government, but student government is funded from A&S fees. So that's activity and service fees right here. And it's on your tuition account. You pay $12.32 per credit hour. That equals out to be $8.9 million in student activity fees that as students you all pay. I don't oversee the funding. The university doesn't oversee the funding. Students just like you oversee and allocate that funding throughout campus. So your president and vice president, a student government, really have a large hand in divvying up that money to different programs on campus. That's $8.9 million. That's a lot of money. The really cool thing about being involved in student government, even at a lower level, not necessarily president or vice president, is you can actually put in there that you helped advocate for the different needs and helped allocate $8.9 million to the places on campus that need it. That's a lot of things that most people kind of can't say when they graduate high school. So it's a great opportunity. So it is included in your bill automatically. Activity and service fees are all public universities in Florida collect them. So it is something that we actually have to collect, and it funds everything that you do. So mostly everything, I should say. So a lot of the things like campus rec, the programs within our office, our registered student organizations, health services, the student union, a lot of the positions and funding that those areas receive are paid with by activity and service fees, which is why a lot of the programs that we offer are absolutely free to students. So we typically never charge for programs. So they're absolutely free to you. You've already prepaid for them. So that's really important, especially for the commuter students out there, to know that you've already prepaid for a lot of the things that we do on campus. So you not utilizing the service or attending a program or event, you're kind of wasting that funding. You should definitely be involved. I tell people you don't buy like a fancy Bluetooth speaker and then kind of just leave it on the counter somewhere. You utilize that. You should be utilizing the fees. It's included in your tuition. Yep. Awesome. Let me see. So any other questions about the A&S fees, activity and service fees? There's going to be a question later about activity and service fees and a Kahoot. So we will be playing Kahoot at the end of this, and there's going to be a question. So remember this $12.32 per credit hour. That's a big hint. All right, so let me go to the next slide. So what is that $12.32 per credit hour fund? So it funds a lot on campus. It funds campus traditions. So that's bonfire and some of our larger programs on campus, homecoming as well. The mascot program, concerts. As I mentioned before, we've had Waka Flocka, we've had T-Pain, we've had Kesha, we had 21 Savage. We had a country artist, his name slips my mind, but we had a country artist 2 years ago. Comedy shows, we bring Well and Out each year. So large comedy shows as well. Homecoming, as I mentioned before, we spend a week long of programs typically around a theme. And at the conclusion of the week, we typically burn the mascot of the other team. Last year it was UCF's mascot. It funds legislation. So I talked about the House a little bit earlier, and if you wanted to get involved as a freshman student, FCC, the Freshman Class Council, or the House are two really great options. So legislation is something that you'd be assisting with writing. So within legislation, there's going to be funding needed to put that new policy or new thing into effect. A really great example is the Uber Share program that we have. So every FAU student gets $5 off every Uber ride they take, as long as they're going to or from the university. That was legislation that was put into place by the House and the Senate, and it had to be funded. So that pool of funding goes to legislation. And then, of course, events and more. Most of our registered student organizations, which we'll talk about in a moment, are funded via A&S fees as well. So those activity and service fees. Okay. Any questions in the chat before I move on? Let me see. Nope. Perfect. So I'm going to move on. Oh, free Scantrons and Blue Books. Let me not forget that. You may remember in high school or right now, you probably have those bubble sheets that you have to fill in during exams, Scantrons. So those are typically used for a lot of your tests in college. And the professors don't typically provide them. So we actually give out free Scantrons in our office and Blue Books. So if you have an upcoming exam and you need a Scantron, you're able to get 2 per week. And our office is located in the student union on the 2nd floor. So hopefully when you get to campus, you can find us and get yourself a free Scantron and Blue Book. And we always have free swag. We're always giving out free t-shirts and promotional items. Every Tuesday is Blues Day on campus. So we will be around campus with FAU t-shirts, and if you're wearing FAU colors or have some type of FAU gear, we give you a t-shirt. And then we want you to be part of student government as well. We definitely want you to be involved as a freshman student or transfer student, and really helping you find your niche within student government. There are a lot of programs within student government. So there's SAVVY, Students Advocating Volunteer and Service. There's RSOs, or COSO, Council of Student Organizations. There is Program Board. They oversee some of the large scale concerts and programs on campus. There's PEP, which is Peer Educational, Psychological Education. I forgot what the other P is off the top of my head, but they really advocate for mental health on campus for FAU students. There is MP, which is multicultural programs. There's the House, the Senate, and some other programs within that you can be involved in. And like I said, a lot of these are paid positions, so you can get paid to be awesome, is what I usually tell people. All right, so RSOs, I'm not biased or anything, but I oversee our RSOs on campus. We have over 430 RSOs on campus. So if you have something you're interested in, if you have a hobby, a niche, this is a great opportunity for you, along with if you're undecided on your major. Maybe you're torn between two majors and you really don't know what the right fit is for you. Joining student organizations in both of those majors can really help you solidify if it's the right fit for you. You'll be able to talk with students who are currently within that major and kind of get a feeling for the coursework and the fit for you. So if you are on the fence between two majors, that's a great way to kind of decide if it's the right fit for you. Or maybe even if you want to have a major, but you kind of don't want to do a minor in something, maybe you can find a minor or student organization related to that minor. So some great opportunities. Like I said, we have over 400 registered student organizations. Our student organizations fall into various councils. So we have, this is going to be a question later too. We have fraternity and sorority life. We have special interest. We have academic. We have sports council. And we have, I'm missing one, multicultural and spiritual. So they're broken up into 5 councils. We also have a council that kind of operates separately, and that's Graduate and Professional Student Association. And those are organizations for our graduate students. Undergraduate students can still be a part of them. They're just kind of its own separate beast. But fraternities and sororities, special interests, academics, sports clubs, and then multicultural and spiritual. And again, within that, we have over 430 unique organizations on campus. So there's kind of something for everybody. What I like to tell people as well is you can start your own organization. So maybe you don't find an organization or see an organization that really fits your niche. Definitely come and talk with me. I'm located in the student union on the 2nd floor. I can help you start an organization. We don't just start an organization on campus. We help you with funding, reserving space, getting your first meeting set up, among a lot of other resources on campus and within our office. All right, so leadership positions. I told you about the leadership positions available in student government. We talked about the president, vice president, governors, being involved in freshman class council and some of the other areas on campus. But there's also leadership positions within our student organizations. Every student organization on campus is required to have at least 3 positions, and that's president, vice president, and treasurer. So these are leadership positions that can definitely add a lot to your resume, a lot of value to your resume, and great leadership experience. These positions are required to have a 2.5 GPA. And they have other positions within those. So those are the base positions. A lot of organizations have like a marketing chair. They have like a street team who's in charge of getting people to attend the programs and sharing flyers. They often have a secretary, a sergeant of arms. It really varies by organization. But these are the 3 main positions that all organizations across campuses would have. So how do you get involved in an RSO on campus? It's actually really easy. We have an online hub called OWL Central. So within that all online hub, every registered student organization has their own page. So I'm going to click on the link really quick and take you to that page just so you can see what it looks like. Is everybody able to see the screen? Just want to make sure. I think so. All right, so this is what OWL Central looks like if everybody can see it. Ooh, let me see. You don't see the website. Awesome. Okay, let me just adjust this really quickly. Can everybody see the website now? I think I started sharing the correct screen. Oh, perfect. Okay, so I'll go back to the PowerPoint in a minute. So this is what OWL Central looks like. This is the hub of where all of our student organizations are at. So you'll see at the top right here, once you log in, my mouse disappeared. I think my mouse disappeared. All right, well, we'll skip that for now. I think I'm locked into the screen. All right, let's see if it's working now. It says it's connected. That's really, it's not letting me move on. Yeah, I can't see my mouse on the screen. That is, oh, there we go. Okay, we're back on track. So this is your main screen of OWL Central. At the top, once you sign in right here, you'll be able to see home, events, organization, news, and forums. This is where all of the events throughout the university are housed. So I talked a little bit about activity and service fees and you all prepaying for a lot of programs on campus. In addition to the bulletin boards and advertising on campus, this is the hub for where you're gonna find all those programs. So all you really have to do is click on a program you're interested in. You can hit RSVP to let them know that you'll be coming. Or for a lot of programs you don't have to RSVP to, you can kind of just show up. You can also add this to your calendar. So that's what I really like about here. You can see add to Google Calendar. But you're able to add it to your calendar as well. And we'll go back really quickly. Up top at the page, you'll also see organizations. So this is where you're going to find all 430 of those organizations. You can search by category. So we talked about the different breakdowns. We talked about multicultural and spiritual, special interests, sports organizations. You can search by student government programs. I talked a little bit about program board and council of student organizations, multicultural program board, and some other aspects. So if you were to click here, all the programs that are registered with under student government will pop up. Maybe you are a Broward student, so you're interested in only looking at organizations who are on the Broward campus. You can definitely search by campus as well. Or as I mentioned before, maybe you are looking at 2 different majors and you're unsure. You can always click academic and see kind of what academic orgs we have on campus. The other neat thing is you can search. So if you know you're specifically interested in arts, all the organizations that are related to art or have art within their description will pop up. So once you get here, let's say you want to join the Classical Arts Appreciation Society. They actually are a new organization on campus. They started in November, I believe. Oh, January. I was off by 2 months, 3 months. So Classical Arts Appreciation Society, you'd be able to join right here by clicking. I'm already a member, I'm their advisor currently, but they would be able to then accept your invitation. Once you've joined an organization, when you go to your home screen, the organization will pop up down here, and then all the events that that organization has. So it's a great way to get involved. There's also an app version I'll talk about in a second. But I did talk about also if you want to start your own organization. I said if none of these organizations work for you or there's not a niche for you, definitely come talk to me about starting your own organization. And the way you can do that is going back to this fau.edu/get involved, this web link right here. Scroll down and you are going to see an intent to organize form. You can simply fill out this form and this will get directed to me, and I can then assist you with getting started with a new organization on campus. All right, so let me get back to the PowerPoint. There we go. So as I mentioned, please, this will be on the Kahoot too, wink, wink, fau.edu/get involved. You'll log in with your username and password on the upper right-hand side, click organizations, and then search by your interest or the category that we talked about. All right. So the app version, Cork, C-O-R-Q. I'm going to give everybody a second. If you're not on your mobile device, I know if you're on your mobile device right now, it may be hard to download the Cork app right now. But if you're not on your mobile device, just type in C-O-R-Q. You'll be able to download it. And it's basically a mobile version of the fau.edu/get involved, that OWL Central page I just showed you. This will allow you to do some of the same things: RSVP for an event, join a student organization, complete those forms if you want to start an organization, and really stay in touch with what's going on campus. It also is cool because up here you'll see nearby. It tells you what events are nearby you on campus. So if you're in the breezeway, it will tell you what events are either taking place on the breezeway or within the surrounding area. All right. And for this one, as I mentioned, you just download CORQ. You'll log in with your FAU username and password. Your username is everything before the @ sign, if you did not know yet. Go back. So your username is everything before the @ sign. And then you can search for events and organizations, add them right to your calendar as well. All right. So some of you may want to start following organizations now. Maybe you kind of want to get a feel for what organizations are doing. I can let you know, even with everything going on, our organizations are still hosting events. They still have a lot going on. We had Asian Student Union, which is on here for you to follow. They just did a sushi night last week. So they live streamed how to make candy sushi rolls, which is really cool. Just another way to continue to get students involved. So maybe you want to check out some of those events. We went through a few social media pages and just put a few really active organizations right now. So Asian Student Union, ASU_of FAU. So you can follow any of these organizations. This is their Instagram usernames. So if you're interested in kind of getting involved, seeing what our student organizations are currently up to, this is a great opportunity. You can go ahead and join their social media accounts. Most of our organizations have a social media account. That information can be found on their OWL Central page as well if you can't find it here. All right, so fun facts about RSOs. Our registered student organizations plan over 5,000 events each semester. Remember that, over 5,000. So they plan over 5,000 events each year, not semester. So there's definitely 2 or 3 events every single day. There's events that range from speaking and presenters to interactive dancing. So we have ballroom dancing. They do the events to teach other people how to ballroom dance. So there's a wide array of events on campus. 26% of our first-year students in 2018 were involved, first-year, first-generation college students were involved in at least one student organization, and 45% of last year's freshman class joined at least one organization. So almost half of all students who came in last year joined an organization. The average GPA for our student leaders is a 3.2 on campus or higher. So I talked a little bit about those president, vice president, and treasurer positions. They're required to have a 2.5 GPA, but they maintain a 3.2 GPA. The really important thing to know about that is being involved typically is associated with having a higher GPA. And some of the reasons for that is you're kind of accountable, right? You have to maintain that GPA. You have to maintain that GPA to maintain your leadership role. The other reason is you kind of surround yourself by people who have different strengths and weaknesses. So if you are not too good in math and somebody in your organization is, there is that kind of assistance to help you develop some of your weaknesses. Noble Hour is something I talked a little bit about in the beginning. Noble Hour is where we house all of our student service hours. So within that, you are able to log into Noble Hour. It's going to take me to the page, so let me just share with you all. This is what Noble Hour looks like. It allows you to go in and see different service opportunities on campus. So if you hit Explore up here, you're able to see some of the kind of service opportunities on campus. And I'm just going to put in FAU SIPCO. There we go. You're able to click on some of these different volunteer opportunities and hit I'm interested, and that service person will actually reach out to you. The great thing about this is, again, everything in here is tracked on your transcript. So on your transcript, it's going to say kind of what you were involved with from the times and how many hours you completed. So it's a really nifty tool, something unique to FAU that we put the service hours on your transcript. Was everybody able to see that? I hope so. Okay. Okay, perfect. I am going to, is everybody able to see the PowerPoint now?
We were. If you guys weren't sure, Renee is working remotely, so we have a little guest in the background.
I apologize. I'm trying to ignore them as much as possible. We were doing really well too. Oh man. So traditions, I talked a little bit about traditions in the beginning, but some of the traditions we have is the Blues Day I talked about. So the Blues Day is when on Tuesdays, if you wear FAU colors, we're kind of around campus just handing you additional FAU swag. The fight song, you'll get to know that really quickly, especially at our football and basketball games. They are always singing the fight song. And then homecoming. Homecoming is a week long of events that you all will be able to take part in. The Sunshine Step Show happens in the spring semester each year, and that's with our Greek organizations. And then we have the bonfire I talked a little bit about. It's typically a concert with burning a structure of the other team's mascots and bed races. If you all have never tried them, we have organizations decorate and build beds, and they race them down one of the areas of campus to see who wins. Weeks of Welcome, it happens in August, and it's typically the first 3 weeks of the semester where we have events every day. These are larger events to get you involved with. One of the large ones is our Registered Student Organization Fair. So the Registered Student Organization Fair is where 150 of our registered student organizations typically table in the breezeway. You're able to meet with them face to face, kind of see what their organization is about, and join them if you're interested. And then I have a Kahoot for everybody. So I think everybody's familiar with Kahoot. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. This should give you the information to log in. Perfect. So I don't know if everybody can see this. also going to put it in the chat for everybody. Okay. I think everybody should be able to see the Kahoot thing now. Perfect. So FAU friendly names, I gave you a lot of hints in the beginning about some questions that would be on here, so I hope you were paying attention. Okay, so we got Sammy, Jit, Adriana, Ashley, Gigi. I think we have about 60 people in here, so I'm going to give it a minute for everybody to create a username. I haven't seen any creative usernames yet. Let's see what y'all come up with. Is anybody having difficulty logging in? I know some people may be on their cell phones. So that's okay if you're on your cell phone, just play along and try to guess the answers. If you're not on your cell phone, you can go to www.kahoot.it, or if you have a laptop nearby. So I'm going to give it about 20 more seconds and we're going to go ahead and get started. Remember some of those hints I gave you, they come in handy. All right, so I'm going to get started. Are you ready? How much do students pay per credit hour in A&S fees? I told you these are the fees that reflect, that help us prepay for some of the programs that you're going to be attending. You all did really good. Who's green? I can't see. Most of you all did pretty well. Okay. So like I said, A&S fees are $12.32 per credit hour. You've already prepaid for a lot of things you see on campus, whether it's programs or services. So definitely get your money's worth, get involved outside of the classroom. And for those commuter students listening, please don't go to your car or go from your car to your class back to your car. It's not a really great way for you to get involved and be able to kind of utilize the resources you put money towards. All right, oh, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. All right. Where do you go to start or join a student organization? I said it was. This one's a bit trickier. All right, so OWL Connect, it's actually OWL Central is the main platform, but to get to it, you go to fau.edu/get involved. As I mentioned earlier, our organizations plan over 5,000 events each semester, so all of those events are listed right in OWL Central. It's the perfect opportunity for you to get involved. But OWL Connect is closed, it's OWL Central, but to get to it, you go to that fau.edu/get involved. Let's see who's paying attention. Oh, somebody else took the top spot. All right, next question. Where is the SAI office located? I did say this twice throughout the presentation. I made it an effort to make it known. That is correct. For those who selected blue, it's the student union on the second floor. So within the student union, there's a lot of different things. That is also where a lot of the events take place. We have a large auditorium that seats over 5,000 students. So it's typically where we do concerts as well. The admin building, that's across campus. It's really not, it's really administration based. And then student support services is on the second floor above the breezeway. But the correct answer is blue, student union, second floor. Oh, okay, Sammy. Let's see. Which of the following are not an RSO council? I said our registered student organizations were broken up to 5 groups, with the 6th being GPSA for our graduate students, so graduate and professional student organizations. Most of these, yep, health council. So we don't have a health council on campus. We do have a lot of health and medical based student organizations, but we don't have a specific council for those orgs. So for those of you who guessed green, you are correct. Okay, we got a new first place. Y'all are close though. I think we have 2 more questions. Yeah. So how many events in total do RSOs plan each year? I said over this amount, so think over. Don't think this number, you want to think over. It's a big hint. Okay, so 5,500 is correct. Our organizations plan over 5,500 events each semester. I said to think over because this question is oddly worded, but 5,000 is not correct because they plan more than 5,000. Let's see who got this. Might determine who goes in first place. Okay, Adriana. All right, where can you find a free Scantron or Blue Book? If somebody gets this one wrong, I'm going to be upset. Let's see. Okay, you know what? So student activities and involvement, the bookstore does have Scantrons and Blue Books, but they are not free. So if the word free was not in there, you both would be correct, but that word free is key. In our office, we give out free Scantrons and Blue Books. You can purchase them in the university bookstore. But remember, you've already prepaid for everything in our office. So if you've already prepaid for the Scantrons and Blue Books, you might as well come utilize them. Yay! Okay. Okay, somebody came back. Unexpected win. Very cool. I'm gonna go ahead and exit out of this screen. Oh, nope, I gotta go back. The music is still playing. Okay, now we'll go back to the PowerPoint. Perfect. I think everybody can see the PowerPoint again. Congrats to the winners. So I think I'm going to open everything for questions in case somebody has something, in case you want to know more about registered student organizations. Just put it in the chat. Really anything involvement related. If you have questions, feel free to ask me. That's why I'm here. If you need to know if we have a specific student organization on campus or what a position or program entails, just put it in the group chat. So the housing question I'm not as familiar with. There is housing available for transfer students, but a really great opportunity is also our off-campus housing partners. So let me just do a new share really quickly, and I think I can take you to that website. FAU off-campus housing. So FAU has an off-campus housing partner. They basically are about 75 off-campus living opportunities that you can actually search from. So this is what the page looks like. You're able to log in, sign up first, but then log in. And it actually is really great because you can put in your minimum max. You can let them know if you're looking for a unit for yourself or a bedroom. It also has a roommate finder. So if you do find an apartment and it has an additional bedroom and you need to find a roommate, a lot of FAU students are utilizing this if they're, second, third, fourth year, or if they don't want to live on campus. So again, this is with our university housing partner. You can absolutely go to offcampushousing.fau.edu, create an account and kind of see the different housing options available off campus. But really, housing would be the best bet to know what's available on campus for housing. And then we are hosting live virtual tours on FAU admission page. So there's another opportunity as well. Are there any medical or healthcare organizations for students who want to pursue a medical career? Absolutely. So we have a ton of healthcare organizations, and they vary in different aspects of the medical field. So I'm just going to go here. So as you can see, we have 42 different health-based organizations. We have everything from Blood Pressure Screening Association, which actually trains other student organizations on how to take blood pressure. The really cool thing about this is we have medical missions abroad on campus. Medical missions abroad actually gets trained by various of our other medical organizations on campus. And then they take that training and they go to different countries and actually perform outreach services. So that's a really cool opportunity. But really any aspect of medicine that you're interested in, we have probably an organization based around that. So this will be really handy for you. Like I said, you can type in keywords of something specific in medicine you're interested in, or just type in medical or medicine. Are there any busing of shuttles to campus from off-campus housing? There are shuttles. I don't know how often they run from off-campus housing sites. There are also buses that go between the three campuses. So they go from Broward to Boca to Jupiter, and then they go from Jupiter to Boca to Broward. So there are shuttles available on campus. But to get to that schedule, you'd go to the university's transportation page. What's one of the biggest student organizations on campus? There's a lot. So one of the biggest student organizations on campus is ASU, Asian Student Union, BSU, Black Student Union, American Medical Women's Association. AMSA is really big on campus, and that's American Medical Student Association. Trying to think of some other larger ones on campus. A lot of the ones that I had on my screen prior, let me just go back to it, are larger organizations. They're also the most active. And we only picked a few, but IAS is actually a large organization, and they are an engineering organization. So those of you who are interested in an engineering student organization, I think everybody can see this. Let me go back again. There you go. AIAS is an engineering student organization. Somos FAU, there's actually a chapter at each of the campuses. So there's a Somos Jupiter chapter, a Somos Broward chapter, and then Somos FAU at Boca. They started about 2 years ago, and they're pretty large as well. Now, National Organization for Women is really popular on campus. We have Progressive Black Men, PBM. They're very popular on campus. I think, let me just share my screen again. I think, there you go. Okay. Let me see. And I talked a little bit about OWL Involved, which is in August. It's typically the Sunday before classes start. Last year, we had 225 organizations tabling. So they table along the breezeway. And you'll really get to meet a lot of our Greek organizations, our academic organizations, multicultural and spiritual organizations. They're right there. They take pride in tabling and kind of getting you actively involved. Some of our dancing organizations like Pulse Dance Troupe, they actually do performances. So it's a great way to kind of, if you're kind of lost seeing all the organizations at OWL Center and you're like, this is kind of overwhelming, really join us for OWL Involved and take your time kind of going down the breezeway, just talking with the organizations face-to-face and one-on-one. Or like I said, start following some of them on social media. They're usually their Instagram name or their social media sites is within their OWL Central page somewhere. But we just picked a few of the popular organizations who are really active right now to showcase. I'm going to see if there's any other questions on here. Something else really cool in our office is every Friday, again, second floor of the Student Union, we do Freezy Pop Fridays. And from 12 to 2, we have the giant ice pops that we give away. So you can just stop by, grab an ice pop. We typically try to talk with you and say, hey, like, what are you involved with? And like introduce you to leadership opportunities. But you're not obligated. You can grab a Freezy Pop and go. We won't take offense. So I don't see any more questions.
I don't see any more questions as well. So we're going to end the presentation. Thank you all for joining us, and reach out to Renee or myself anytime to ask any questions.
Yeah, let me give you all my email address just in case you have maybe more specific questions about student organizations or our office, whether it's about student government or student organization, I can definitely assist you. It's going to be R, F as in Frank, ELLINGER at FAU.edu. And I'm going to put that in the chat as well. But really feel free to reach out to me. I've had our students reach out to me and simply like, hey, I want to get involved. Here are 10 things that I like. I will sit down with you and help you find an organization that kind of meets those needs. Or maybe you have a goal of something you want to accomplish. Definitely come see me because I can definitely connect you with different leadership opportunities to do that.
All right, thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.